Was it courage, or was it recklessness? In Philadelphia, no one seems to agree. But one thing is certain, Howie Roseman pulled the trigger again, and the price of that decision might define the entire season for the Philadelphia Eagles. It was a bold, expensive move, one that immediately divided opinions inside and outside the locker room. On one side, excitement. The team is loading up for another championship run. On the other, concern. What if this time, the risk outweighs the reward? And the name at the center of it all? A player with elite talent, but a medical history that would make any front office nervous. Jalen Phillips. With the trade deadline approaching, the Eagles knew they had to act. Injuries, retirement, and inconsistency had left gaps in what was once the heart of their Super Bowl winning defense. So Roseman did what he always does best. He moved, fast, fearless, and all in. He picked up the phone and called the Miami Dolphins, landing Phillips in exchange for a third-round pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. Philadelphia also took on about $1.5 million of his remaining salary, a significant commitment for a player who arrives surrounded by question marks. Phillips has the ideal build for a dominant edge rusher, 6'5", 260 pounds, powerful and explosive. But there's a shadow that follows him, his injury history. Over the past 2 years, he's missed 19 games due to 2 devastating injuries, a torn ACL and a ruptured Achilles tendon, the kind of injuries that can end careers before they even peak. That's why critics wasted no time voicing their doubts. Former NFL scouting director Greg Gabriel didn't hold back. The Philadelphia Eagles paid too much for Phillips, he wrote. His sack numbers have been mediocre since his rookie season, and he's in a contract. This is basically a rental. And a very expensive one. But to understand why Roseman took this risk, you need to go back. Before the 2024 season, the Eagles had already spent heavily on their defensive line, handing 3 years and $51 million to Bryce Huff and another $10 million to Josh Sweat. The results couldn't have been more different. Sweat became a star, leading the defense and helping secure the Super Bowl win. Huff, however, never fit the scheme and was eventually traded. Then came the off-season blow. Sweat left for the Arizona Cardinals, signing a 4-year, $76 million deal. Overnight, the Eagles had lost their most reliable pass rush. Roseman knew he couldn't afford to stand still, and that urgency led him straight to Phillips. Still, a third-round pick for a player with such a fragile track record raised eyebrows across the league. The deal screamed desperation to some, but to others, it was classic Howie Roseman. He's never been afraid to bet big when the window to win is open. For Jalen Phillips, this is more than just another chapter. It's a shot at redemption, playing under his 5th-year option, worth over $13 million in 2025. He knows this is his chance to rebuild his reputation and maybe secure the kind of long-term payday that slipped away in Miami. And perhaps Philadelphia is the perfect place for that. Defensive coordinator Vic Fangio already knows Phillips from their time together with the Dolphins. He understands how to use his explosiveness, his first step, and his ability to collapse the pocket. In a system built on rotation and relentless pressure, Phillips could thrive if his body holds up. The Bleacher Report recently listed Phillips among the top 50 free agents of 2026, pointing out that this season could completely change his market value. He's finally healthy, wrote analyst Christopher Knox. If he stays that way, he can boost his value significantly in Philadelphia, and he'll still only be 26 next spring. Inside the locker room, reactions were positive. Veterans like Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox praised the move, calling Phillips young, hungry, and ready to prove something. After weeks of uncertainty on the edge, the Eagles' defensive front suddenly feels loaded again, with Phillips joining Graham, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, and Jordan Davis. But outside the building, opinions remain split. Some fans call it another stroke of genius from Roseman, the same man who rebuilt the Eagles into a perennial contender. Others see it as overconfident, a risky swing that could backfire. The truth? Nobody knows yet. That's the beauty and the danger of Roseman's philosophy. He doesn't play it safe. He never has. His moves are meant to tilt the board, to change the conversation, to keep the Eagles one step ahead, even if it means living on the edge. With a 6-2 record and control of the NFC East, the Eagles are still right where they want to be. But this move, this gamble, could determine whether they stay there. If Jalen Phillips finds his rhythm, Philadelphia just added another weapon to an already dangerous defense. If he falters, though, the criticism will be loud and it will be relentless. Either way, one thing is certain. When Howie Roseman decides to take a risk, the entire NFL pays attention because in Philadelphia, playing it safe has never been part of the game plan.